Kicking things off, Theo. I'm sorry we're starting with this one, but Croatia with the shock again, with the shock result against Brazil in the penalty shootout. Theo, we have to start off by asking you this one.
No, I know we don't, bro. Honestly. Well, as you know, I'm super sad, super angry, super frustrated. But in times like this, I'm also happy because it shows me why football is the most impressive sport in the world. The most beautiful sport in the world, no doubt. You know, who pictured Croatia beating Brazil like that? Who pictured Morocco beating Portugal like that? You know what I mean? Football is just the most amazing sport I've ever seen. And matches like this, even though you can name every possible negative feeling, I'm having that right now. But I'm still happy as a football fan, just to see what I saw. But talking about Brazil, man, I'm disappointed at Brazil as a whole. We didn't play at all, not even close to what we presented in the other matches, you know. And I felt that Brazil was a little too arrogant against Croatia as a whole. We underestimated their abilities. Even we did over here. Even Brazilian fans, even the Brazilian media, they were overlooking the qualities of this Croatian side, especially the Croatian midfielders. I saw a TV show where they were comparing positions, and pretty much Brazil beat Croatia 11-0 if you compare position by position. But when you compare Lucas Paquetá to a guy like Modric, I don't feel like there's any comparison. And we could clearly see that on the pitch yesterday. I just felt that in general, Brazil lacked energy. Brazil lacked the desire to win the match, to win every single battle they were fighting. They were one step behind Croatia in every move that Croatia was making. So even though Brazil pressed more, Brazil had more possession, Brazil took more shots, Brazil didn't deserve to win, in my view. I saw Croatia as a better team at the end of the day than Brazil. And to get scored on like that in the extra time, after you scored a goal, in the last minute of the first half of the extra time, and then with 3 minutes on the clock, you have your two center defensive mids pressuring up high where you didn't have them, where you didn't need them to be pressuring that high, and then you get caught on a counterattack. That was not professional by Brazil. That was not smart. That was not intelligent. I'm not sure if it was the lack of energy, but Brazil missed. So Brazil just wasn't Brazil in this match, and unfortunately, Croatia found a goal in their only shot on target, and they managed to beat us on the PKs because they're huge on PKs. I want to see what you guys think about the match as a whole.
I find it shocking that it was 4-on-4 at when Croatia scored. Like that is just unheard of, right? You're about to win the game, 5 minutes left in the game, and you're presenting them with a chance on 4-on-4. That's crazy to me. I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense at all to have both Fred and Casemiro both high up in the pitch, pressuring Croatian's ball. And then, Casemiro also, he had a yellow card, but he had the option to foul Modric, to prevent the counterattack from happening. With 3 minutes on the clock, would you guys make this decision to foul Modric to prevent this counterattack to happen in the first place? Or would you say that he was right by not making the foul?
No, I mean, Casemiro on a yellow, he's an expert at avoiding the red card. So if he didn't foul, I think he knew that he would have been sent off. So I don't have a problem with that. But just the positioning itself, it's plain stupid.
What is up with Croatia, though? It seems like now, again, they just have this World Cup spark. I don't know what happens to them, but every time now, it's been matches that they've seen out after the full-time whistle and into extra time or penalties. What is your guys' take on that?
They're zombies. I don't know any other way to describe them. They look down and out, and they somehow score and make it to the penalty shootout. And I have to say, the keeper, oh my God, I've used him in Football Manager just because he's cheap and he's a beast. And it's my first time seeing him like actually live. And this guy, I mean, he's carrying Croatia, really. 11 saves against Brazil. Penalty shootout as well. Saved Rodrigo's kick. Wow.
Well, yeah, and talking about the PKs, yeah, he's a great keeper for sure. He saved Rodrigo's PK, but it was too much pressure on Rodrigo's shoulder. I felt like it was his first PK for Brazil ever. I mean, we know that he's a great penalty shooter. He took PKs for Madrid already, and he felt confident enough to ask to be the first one to shoot. But he clearly lacked the experience that we needed. You know, maybe a guy like Neymar would have calmed the nerves down in a time like that. But Rodrigo, he felt like he should have, and then he went for it, and then he clearly showed that he was a little unprepared for this stage. Let's say he's 21 years old, his first PK for Brazil, so for sure he was going to feel the pressure. And talking about Croatia's keeper, he's great for sure. Don't get me wrong, but his saves throughout the match, they weren't that impressive. You know, they were mainly like on like the ball was kind of like following him. The ball was going towards wherever he was at the moment. So I didn't feel like he was that great. I mean, if you compare him to a keeper like Bono from Croatia, Bono from Morocco, I'll go with Bono on this one if you compare. But yeah, I mean, he saved Rodrigo's PK. He avoided Brazil scoring maybe like 4 or 5 times. Not super impressive saves, but still, he saved Croatia. And again, Croatia's physicality, they're so strong that they were able to handle Brazil's mid. Pretty much they had to control Casemiro, and they did so. So what are your thoughts here, Noah? What made Croatia win the match? Actually tie and then take it on PKs?
I think it just comes down to that experience again. They have players in their squad that are experienced, are able to hold out and wait for this chance that came up at the end. But I also do think Brazil should have been more clinical. And it happened again. Like they just don't have that go-to goal scorer that's going to be able to kind of be the focal point, be the attention guy in the attack and be able to score the goal when it came around. And because of that, Brazil wasn't able to run away with this game as we probably would have expected. Everybody would have probably expected that. So I think until Brazil established that go-to striker, I know that in and around the Brazilian fan base, people are talking about Pedro kind of being that guy coming up in the future. Maybe he can be the guy for the next World Cup. Think he'll have a great shot. You have a good, fresh youth of players coming up. So disappointing, but you know, it's funny actually. I was talking with my dad before the match, and he was telling me that the day of the match there was Brazil jerseys everywhere, flags everywhere, and everybody was just supporting Brazil, which is kind of an interesting thing about Jamaica. People support Brazil, but you know, I think it's just great to see how the Brazilian culture has gone even as far as Jamaica. So that's something to be proud of as a Brazilian. If it's not for the World Cup showings this this year, we can at least be proud of that. But moving on to your arch rivals, South American rivals, Argentina came up with the goods against the Netherlands, also on a penalty shootout.
Exactly how I previewed it to be. I mean, I said it. It was going to be a tie, maybe a 1-1 or 2-2, and then Argentina was going to take it on PKs. But we as a collective, we chose Netherlands because of you too. So I don't take the responsibility for that. But
what do you
man,
think
what a
about
match.
what do you think about the late flurry here from Netherlands? I mean, to be 2-0 down and to have the courage and character to fight back. Weghorst, jeez, a player that
Wow.
one sock likes and kind of trashes on sometimes too. But what do you think about that late flurry, Theo? Like the late free kick, the inventiveness. What do you think?
Well, in my view, that was Louis van Gaal's masterpiece because the game was excellent from Argentina's standpoint until the 83rd minute. You know, they just didn't let the Netherlands play at all. They only had one shot and it was off target on the first half by Bergwijn. Very poor shot. So they weren't playing at all. They couldn't penetrate Argentina's defense. They were just so tightened up. They were defending with 5 in the back and attacking with 3 in the mid. So their goal was clearly to overcrowd the mid. So as if to not let the Holland team penetrate the mid and eventually the defense. So whenever Louis van Gaal realized that, he was, I thought that he'd think, instead of just trying to force through the mid again, he just try to play through the air. So air balls. Let me get the highest players that I have on the bench. Let me play them, De Jong and Weghorst, and let's try to place the ball in the box, see what happens. And then the first shot on target for the Netherlands, goal, 2-1. And then of course it was going to be the same thing that happened with Argentina against Australia. But now you were facing Netherlands, so you're going to face more pressure, you're going to face more quality. But then on the last minute, on the last ball of the match, a foul like that, where nobody expected him to pass the ball. I think it was Cooper Miners, right, who took the free kick. And then he just passed the ball to Weghorst, who just controlled the ball, facing, I'm not sure if it was Romero who he was facing, but then under pressure. And then he still managed to score like that. I mean, that's just impressive. What a story would it have been, if the Netherlands managed to win this match. But unfortunately, they played against Emi Martinez, who, used to be Noah's friend, let's say, and now not anymore. But I guess unlucky for the Netherlands, but a masterpiece by Louis van Gaal, who understood what was needed and then just made the changes that were required by his team.
Wonsock, what is up with Louis van Gaal and the Dutch team? I mean, he obviously had a stint at Man United, which Di Maria said he was the worst manager he has ever had. And he had some funny comments about the pie being there as well. What are your thoughts on him at the national stage as opposed to the club level?
I mean, he's what, 70? I think his heyday was a long time ago. He's kind of fallen backwards. But I do think that still works at a tournament level. That's why I think Jose Mourinho's next step, I guess, I thought it should have been a national team, because teams can progress to the next rounds and even higher than that by playing that way. And when I saw this guy put on Weghorst and De Jong up top, I mean, they're known for, the likes of Cruyff's, Bergkamp's, Van Basten. From that to go to just hoofing the ball up and looking for the head of those two players, I laughed. But I guess he's not having the last laugh because he's ultimately out of the cup. But yeah, there's the experience. He didn't panic when they went 2-0 down. I guess a bit of luck involved in the last goal, right? But they just fell short. I mean, but I have to mention Argentina. Their players are starting to annoy me by a lot. Emi Martinez, I knew he was a bit of a madman, but I mean, just they look like a team full of cunt, if I can use that word.
You're right. I agree with you here, my friend. And also talking about the last foul, I just think because they do play dirty, I'm not sure if it was Paredes or this Pezzella guy.
Oh, who
They
kicked the ball at
fouled
them?
someone.
Yeah.
Man. I mean,
I
why
agree.
for what reason? I mean, yeah, for sure. They were up 2-1 and they wanted the brawl for sure because it was time wasting 1-on-1. And Argentinians are masters at that. I watched the Libertadores for the South Americans, and they just do that every single game. So not a surprise for me. But I mean, what a dumb foul to concede at the last minute of the match in front of your box and a dangerous position like that. There was no need for a foul like that. Because Pezzella, he just tackles this guy from behind. And I think there was someone already marking, if I'm not mistaken, it was Gapco on the ball. So there was no need for the foul at all. So I just didn't understand why fouling. But I just want to keep it short now because only 3 things remain true after this match, which is Argentina never beat Holland on regular time, ever. So they played 10 times. Argentina never beat the Netherlands. Louis van Gaal never lost a cup match, ever. That's crazy also. And the third, and the truest of all, is that Messi is better than Ronaldo. And now that's kind of proven now.
Debate ended for Theo. Now moving on to Ronaldo. Portugal knocked out by a shock. Morocco blows on skirt. This is crazy still. First African team to reach a semi-final. Do you think they can go all the way and make it to the final now?
At this stage, I really hope so. I mean, the The favorites are obviously going to be Argentina, France. But what good is that? What fun is that? Let's say Croatia, Morocco, a shithousery in the final. Probably going to be the most boring final ever. But hey, I mean, what better story than that?
Theo, what you think? Any chance for them, or is France just gonna be too much?
Well, they do have a chance because they are presenting us with something completely different here. So only 36% of teams who control the match as far as possession goes, only 36% of the time they won the matches in this World Cup. So if Morocco chooses to sit back and defend again and play on counterattacks as objective as they were against Portugal and Spain, I feel like they do have a chance here against France. They just got to defend well, like they did against both Spain and Portugal. So their goal was no surprise. They were playing better than Portugal. They had more chances. They had more shots on target, more shots off target. They just didn't have more possession. But I mean, what's the point of having more possession if you're not gonna do anything like useful with it? You know? I mean, I get it. Bruno Fernandes almost scored a banger in the first half. João Felix almost scored another banger in the second half. Bono stopped him. Ronaldo had a chance face to face with Bono, and Bono stopped him. And Pepe missed a clear header in the last minute of the match. But still, they controlled the match but couldn't score. And Morocco, for the fifth time, no, actually, in 5 matches, they only conceded once. So kudos to Bono and kudos to the whole team, as a whole. The defense system is just working well.
Keep in mind, Morocco had a chance later on as well in that one. But once out, finally you see your boy Ronaldo crashing out on the plane back home with pretty much nowhere to go. Where do you think his next destination is, and what's next for him?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've always preferred Ronaldo over Messi. I'm not saying he's better than Messi, but I mean you can see why I would have always preferred Ronaldo over Messi, seeing that he's played for our club. So it was sad. It was sad to see him just bow out like that. I think that chance that Theo mentioned, I mean, even for United, he would bury those. I can remember that goal he scored against Everton on his weaker foot, if he has one, that is left foot. I don't know if it's the lack of fitness that he did prior to the season or if the age has just finally caught up to him, but he's just not it anymore. If it wasn't plainly obvious, maybe you guys don't really watch the Premier League. Some people don't, right? So you see him in the World Cup stage, and this guy is done, I have to say. I mean, 37, going to be 38 in 2 months. Who blames him, right? I don't know where he's going to go. I don't see him going to any top Champions League clubs. Reports linking him to the Saudi Arabian club, but I'll be very disappointed if he does go there. I mean, you created all that stir just to go play for a club in Saudi Arabia. When you're criticizing the club for, the standards are low, I can still play at the high level, which he showed it. He really can't. And just kind of steering back to the game, I thought Morocco did excellent to really limit Portugal to only, especially in the first half, only to long balls. And they pretty much erased the new promising striker, Gonzalo Ramos. Bono, of course, came up with impressive saves. I doubted them against Portugal, right? I know they hadn't conceded a goal against an opponent, like in 5 games or 4 games prior to this game. But I thought Portugal were a more balanced team than Spain. They had a great finisher who scored a hat trick. They could bring on even Ronaldo, who can still score, and the midfield is more balanced. The fullbacks top class. But wow, Morocco. Maybe we should have seen this coming. The last time the World Cup was held at an Asian continent or country, that was 2002. It was South Korea and Turkey making it to the semifinals. So maybe it's something with the Asian countries hosting the World Cup. I mean, it's literally mirroring the World Cup from 20 years ago. Korea went up against Germany, who ended up losing to Brazil in the final. And this year we have Argentina against Croatia and France against Morocco. So,
speaking of France, their match against England was this weekend one soccer. Sorry, not weekend, but this week, the one match that one sock got right after having last round been 100% 8-in-8.
Yeah, I
Check
have to
it out.
say, yeah, I have to say the World Cup brought me right back down to earth. Having gone 8 for 8, I went 0 for 3 prior to the England game. But this is the game that mattered. And I don't care if I got everything else wrong. I had to get this right. And boy, they were lucky. I'll admit, they were lucky. I think England, I wouldn't say they deserve to win, but I would say they didn't deserve to lose in this fashion, at least. The
Very hard.
referee, it's harsh. Yes, the referee, as a neutral. I mean, I don't know if you would call myself a neutral because I was obviously going for France, but even as a person favoring France, I could tell the decisions overall were favoring France in general. I mean, the game was great other than the refereeing decisions. Back and forth. England responded very well after that goal from Chouameni. And I have to say, Chouameni, I was not familiar with the game like that. I didn't know he had that in him, but wow. And England, I feel for Harry Kane, right? He had scored that penalty earlier in the game. I mean, who else is going to step up to take the second penalty? I don't know if there's a study on the same kicker taking multiple penalties in one game, but that's just extra pressure on Harry Kane, having already taken one. And we know what happened. He missed, and I do feel for him because he played very well overall. Otherwise, so I'll say England were unlucky to lose in this fashion. But hey, I'm not complaining because this is football. It happens.
The thing is, I would have more of an understanding if it wasn't so much of a ref issue. Theo, besides the refing issues, and even like with that included, do you really feel like France deserved the win here?
It's funny to mention that the ref actually comes from Brazil, Wilton Pereira Sampaio.
Of course he does.
So I know this guy. This guy is very familiar for us, at least in Brazil. Very controversial for sure. I agree with you guys here. I felt like he was favoring France a lot more than England. But I guess that's just football, At the end of the day, it is what it is. I felt like Brazil against Croatia, the ref, I forgot his name, but he's an English guy. Very, very famous guy. Michael Oliver.
Michael
I
Oliver.
felt
Yeah.
like he was favoring Croatia more than Brazil. But what can I say? What can I do now? At the end of the day, Harry Kane had a chance of scoring a second goal and he missed it. I don't feel like England deserved to lose, but I don't feel like they did enough to win also. They didn't create many chances as I was expecting them to. I didn't think that Foden played a super great match. I don't think that Saka played a great first half also, but he came back superbly in the second half with that PK that he found. Chouameni fouled him. I guess you were mentioning one sec about not expecting Chouameni to score a goal like that. But then he kind of felt the pressure. I'm not sure if he felt the pressure or if he was just he just rushed a little bit too much when trying to tackle, and then he just committed the PK. So he added a goal to France, but he kind of subtracted one whenever he committed the PK. So he was even at the end of the day. I just thought that both Dembele and Griezmann had amazing matches here. They were running all over the pitch, pressuring the ball, and just offering too much to the French side. Giroud with a header, deflecting on who? I'll let you complete the phrase here one sec.
No, that's not fair. I mean, you're going up against Giroud, a great ball from Griezmann. What can you say? It's just a great header.
Yeah. No, I'm just being hard on Maguire. But also unlucky for Kane, and I do feel it for him also, man. Because I mean, he would be the top scorer for England. He would surpass Wayne Rooney now. Now, not possible, I guess, in the next match maybe. But he's just such an intelligent player, man. In the first half, the turn that he did on Upamecano, and then facing Lohi one-on-one. I mean, man, what a turn was that? How intelligent is he? Whenever he moves to the sides to offer more space in the middle to his teammates, He's just an incredible player, man. What are your thoughts on Harry Kane here, Noah?
I think again,
Take out the Spuds bias, please.
no, I will. I mean, I really do feel like he played a good game as I expected. I mean, he's been good all tournament long. He he had a good game as well, besides that penalty miss. And to be honest, it is a big kind of, mark on his game. That is a big markdown to say, yo, he should be scoring that. I don't think there's any excuses. This is not a young Rodrigo. This is not a young Saka or Sancho stepping up. This is Harry Kane, experienced striker, been playing at the top for many years, had the Euros last year to kind of get this in. Why is he blasting it? If you go get your shot saved, okay, at least you hit the target. At least we can say that. What is he doing skying the ball? There was no slip, nothing. He just wanted to go for straight power. He should have kept his cool, took that away, and England go on to extra time. But to be fair, again, I get, the talks of it's just football, XYZ, but the refs really had a big say in this match. And to me, it never said that France was the better team than England. So I think years on from now, we're going to look back and say, oh no, England only made the quarterfinals. But in reality, they were the better team today. The goal leading up to Tchouameni's first goal, that was a foul on Saka, a straight foul. Same phase of play, no restarts. First of all, it should have been called from the get-go. But the fact that it's the same phase of play should have been called back. Then another one on Saka. Then another one on Kane that should have been a penalty. There were so many fouls in and around the box that England could be capitalizing on. Look at Rashford's free kick at the end. Like there's qualities that can get you goals from that position, those areas. There were free kicks in dangerous areas, and you take away a goal from France. And that's why it's just so frustrating that England ended up losing this one in that manner, because we now don't get the true story as to who was the best team in the World Cup.
England are certainly not the best team in the World Cup.
But again, we can't confirm that because we just watched them lose based on absolute bullshit.
Well, let me tell you what. The fact is, 10 years down the line, nobody's going to remember this. They're going to remember that France made it to the semifinals, and that's the facts.
No, but that's the annoying part, though, is that they remember that, but they're not really seeing what the case was. The refs fucked it.
Okay, but England aren't the only team that are going to be fucked by the referees or that have been fucked by the referees. It happens. It is what it is.
Yes.
And also, at the end of the day, Noah, Harry Kane had a chance to tie the match,
He did, and that's why I'm saying
won.
That was inexcusable. I agree with that part.
No, but I do agree with your points about the fouls and the PK in the first half not being given to England. I felt like that was a clear PK in my opinion. But
and the first goal.
Yeah. It's just crazy that we didn't mention Mbappe at all about this match. I guess Kyle Walker did a great job here.
Yeah, he really locked him up. I mean, it was exactly what you would have anticipated, exactly what Southgate would have wanted from Walker in this one.
What did you guys think about the way that England was defending? Because they were defending with three in the back, so Walker being this third defender. But also, oftentimes I saw both Rice or Henderson dropping too much to a point where, England were defending with four in the back, not three. They were attacking with three in the back. So whenever they were defending, it seemed like Henderson or Rice, they were dropping too much, where they were forming a kind of a five-man line in the back. Did you guys think that they were dropping too much, more than they actually needed to, or was that fair from England's standpoint? Because I felt like in the first goal, France's first goal, Tchouameni had too much space in the middle to choose whatever he could do. And then whenever Bellingham tried to press, there was not enough time, So what do you guys think about this?
I'll just touch on the first goal. I think I don't see too much of an issue with that. I mean, the ball is being recycled back, right? So at the stage that they're stepping up, Bellingham was going to pressure Tchouameni as well. But that shot just came off too clean and just was executed so well. But overall, I thought England pretty much dominated the game. Or I should say possession and a lot of the phase of the play. And it was more France trying to hit them on a counter. And I mean, Maguire and Stones aren't necessarily blessed with pace. So I can understand their decision. And I don't think we'd be talking about this had they gone on and win the game. Or I should say, had they gone on to win the game. But I think at this point, it's just all hindsight because they played well overall.
They did, and they control possession, like you mentioned. But again, 36% of teams who control possession won their matches. So I guess maybe giving your opponent the ball might be a better option. What do you think here, Noah? You think that it might be a better? You think that it might be a better strategy to let the other team control you, so you can play more objectively on counterattacks?
Well, that's the thing, right? That's why I don't necessarily believe in this factor of possession wins you the match or beautiful football wins you the match. It really does come down to the game strategies depending on who you have and who you are playing against. You know, we saw Manchester City when they first had the takeover, they were very successful with Craig Bellamy and Tevez on the counter attack. That was their style of play because when you sit, you tend to get more space in behind. Whereas if you have the ball, some teams tend to clog up the spaces and get really tight, and it just creates a crowd. So yeah, definitely in certain situations, I think it'd be beneficial for teams to sit back and try and hit them on the break. That's what I really would have wanted, I guess, from a France perspective, wanted France to do if I was the France manager, because the pace is just absolutely sensational. And again, I think they were outplayed today, honestly. So yeah, definitely there's a time and place for that.
I can say that definitely I wanted Brazil to do this whenever we were up 1-0 against Croatia. Instead of having both Fred and Casemiro pressuring high, we could have them both park the bus, just sit, wait, close the gaps, sit tight, and just clear every possible chance that Croatia had, which was only one. So yeah, I guess this strategy, like you said, like you mentioned, applying this strategy at certain points in time, whenever it's needed, then yeah, for sure, why not? But why avoiding it when you have the option to?
Yeah. No, seeing as you weren't impressed with France's performance today, do you still believe that the winner of this game is going to go on to win the tournament? And to follow that up, you could, give us a prediction of the semifinal matchups.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that I wasn't impressed with France today. I just felt England were harshly done by today. They had a great game. They outplayed an excellent France team, and I think that again, coming back to the rest decisions, but France still offered extreme amounts of threat, especially in their attacking areas. Giroud was obviously a good target man in the sense of he got a good head on the ball. Griezmann always getting involved in the play, and Mbappe just came up against his counterpart today. So I don't think that that's going to happen again against Morocco. I'm not sure if Hakimi is going to be given that kind of role or responsibility to sit back like Kyle Walker did and man mark Mbappe. But Dembele again too, he is just a friggin' monster. And I think that quality is gonna provide a difference in the next round.
Okay, it's just crazy to see that Dembele brings all of this to the table, being this great player that he is. And 2 years ago, nobody wanted him because he was such in a bad form, and he was in a bad form mentally too. And now you see him switching completely to this great player that he was, at least in this World Cup so far. So great to see Dembele playing well again. So we as a collective, we didn't get a single result right. We didn't predict a single match that was going to happen. I mean, we tried, but we got 0 out of 4 as a collective. We said that Brazil was going to beat Croatia, that Portugal was going to beat Morocco, that England was going to beat France, and the Netherlands was going to beat Argentina. So one sec, do you want to go you want to do your own now, and then we do our own ourselves too, or do you want to do as a collective and then we try to get one right this time?
I would like to say this one should be more straightforward, but who knows? I'm just gonna go with the favorites, Argentina and France.
think it has to be as well, honestly.
Okay, then I guess I gotta follow you guys. But I wanted to go with Morocco here. I want Morocco to win against France. I know this is gonna be tough, especially because France is a lot better than both Portugal and Spain. I mean, a lot better. But Morocco can. I mean, they've already beaten both Portugal and Spain, and they tied Croatia. They beat Belgium and Canada. So who knows? Maybe Morocco can beat France here too, and maybe reach the finals. How crazy will that be? Morocco in the finals? Oh my God, man!
That'll be something else for real. But we also could see a repeat of last World Cup's final, France and Croatia.
I don't think anybody wants to see that. That final was so anticlimactic.
For real.
But I do give Morocco a better chance to progress to the final than I do Croatia. If I had to choose between one of those two.
Seems like Wansak doesn't like Croatia at all here.
I mean, who wants to? I mean, no offense to any Croatians, but who wants to see them again? They're not a footballing side. Like they're just
Modric begs to differ.
I don't know. I don't think anybody enjoys watching them. But we'll see. And that will be it for today's episode.